Hey Ramblers, before we kick off today's episode, I just want you to know that we're finally ready to launch OffSource and it's going to be in October. The team is working tirelessly and endlessly to bring you an amazing product and service. So if you know anyone that needs a virtual assistant or just like to make some extra money for our referral program, tell them to head to offsource.tech or text info to 516-408-2427. Make sure you're following us across all social media at OffSourceHQ. Now let's get ready to ramble. Before we begin, a moment from our sponsor. Hey guys, welcome back to the Ramblings. We have started off the week with another star-studded guest. We have Nicholas Villacis, a longtime friend of mine, the co-founder and founder of Linterna, which is now ShowLynk.
Yes, it is now ShowLynk. So again, hi guys. My name is Nicholas Villacis. I am known Angela for quite some time, so I'm like really happy that he gave me the opportunity to speak with everyone here today. So looking forward to everything we're about to talk about. So yeah.
Thank you. We're excited to have you on the show. So you guys are building Linterna with ShowLynk, ShowLynk now as it's called. What is ShowLynk? What are you guys building?
Yeah. So just prior to that, I'll give you guys a little bit of background. So right now we are actually a parent company. So the parent company is actually named Ivor Systems. So the Ivor Systems was really started from my co-founder, Lance Supersad Jr., who's an incredible mastermind in terms of like coding and tech and everything that it is. So one of the things that he envisioned was having a tech company that would have products for people to use, right? Kind of like how Apple exists, and then there's the iPhone, right? So we are known as Ivor Systems. However, our first product was previously Linterna, but now we have ShowLynk. So ShowLynk is really just an online community for creatives to showcase their creativity, right? So we were able to build a platform, an online platform for creatives in any respect, whether it's an artist, someone who sketches, people who write blogs, people who are photographers, videographers, singers, dancers, or any type of content creator to come together in an online platform where everyone has that same appreciation or has that same goal. So it focuses on the niche creative community for people to not only share their work, but also network and meet others who have the same ideas and passion as theirs to kind of come together in one online platform. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's kind of what we are. That's what we do.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So how did you guys come up with something like this?
Yeah. So it all goes back to the history, right? So it all started after I left UB back in 2018. I had a first job straight out of college, and it was for this place called APR Consulting. And it's a business-to-business sales firm where literally at that time we had a client where all we would do is go business-to-business selling paper products for that specific client.
Dunder Mifflin style.
Basically, it was literally like working at Dunder Mifflin, except they were able to sit down in an office and do all their sales from there, versus we had to be out on the block from 9 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. Walking business to business trying to sell those same type of paper products. I say that because that is where I actually met Lance. He was actually my sales partner at the time when we used to walk around, every single business you can think of, whichever one was on the block, try to meet with managers and sell them paper products for our job. So after that, I had gotten a new job. I left. He had gotten a job. He left, and we split ways. Hadn't talked until actually earlier this year. I was driving Uber Eats, and I just so happened to deliver at his house.
Love a story like that.
Exactly, right? So I delivered at his house. He opened his door. He was like, Nick? And I was like, Lance? And from that moment on, we reconnected. He was like, dude, I have such an amazing idea. I've been looking to get in contact with you. I really want to move forward with something. And I'm like, cool, let's set up a time to talk. We did. And that's when he actually pitched me the idea of starting an online platform for creatives and artists alike to kind of share their content. Uh, from that moment, I thought it was an amazing idea. That was, a few months ago, and from that moment, we really got to work in terms of, what it's going to look like, who is it going to be for, uh, how do we kind of bring it out to the masses? What is, all of these crazy questions that uh, me at the time didn't even think could be remotely possible.
Mm.
And I think to any you know any common person, you're just like, how do I even start? How do I build an app? How do I do any of that stuff? Uh, and I'm actually extraordinarily grateful that I was able to partner up with Lance because he knows it all. If he's able to come on, it'd be great. I'd like for him to share his story even more. But in the event, just in case if he doesn't, he's been coding since he was 8 years old. He's 25 now.
Mm.
So he started at the age of 8, learning how to code, building supercomputers, as a teenager. So these are things. This is like the tech world was something that immediately grabbed his attention at a young age.
I love how you
So
keep him and bring him in and like really
yeah,
support and give him that credit. I respect that a lot.
yeah, because I have to, like I'm just someone with a vision. I'm someone who, when I went to UB, I was a communications major, so just the idea of writing, the ability to be able to communicate with different partners, present in that sense of professionalism towards anyone. That's kind of my expertise, right? Kind of like the talker, kind of bringing people in. But in terms of like the actual technical mind, that is something that is a complete foreign language to me. So it's not something that I know I would be able to grasp in a short. It took him 15 years to be like where he's at, and he's still learning, right? So like the more that he learns, the more that he's able to do. I'm actually really excited for what the future holds for Ivor Systems in terms of that. But yeah, he's definitely the tech mind behind it. And then so just having somebody like that was so fortunate because we didn't have to worry about like trying to find a software engineer who, off the bat was going to charge us X amount of dollars to even grade something. Like
Yes.
everything that we've done so far has been in house, right? So
Same.
when it comes to the copyright text, on the website, the ideas, the designs, everything was done between him and I. And then afterwards we brought in two other partners to help us. So now we're officially a team of four, which is really great.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're officially a team of four, and we love, it's all love within the team. We all have the same passions, the same ideology. So it's going to be really exciting to see what we look like, in the coming weeks and everything like that.
Two things. Okay, one is Ivory Holdings officially like a holdings? Like, is it holding ShowLynk?
Yeah. So if I understand your question correctly, so we have an LLC, right? So our
Mm-hmm.
LLC is Ivor Systems. Our
Mm-hmm.
dream is to be like a parent company that's able to produce different products, right?
Okay.
So to give even more
I,
example, for
I know what
example,
you're
like
saying. I know what you're
yeah,
saying.
exactly. So like for example, Google is under the Alphabet company,
Yeah.
right? So the same thing with YouTube under the Alphabet company. Like Google and YouTube are just products of that. So we kind of have the same exact vision. So right now, like him and I are co-founders of Ivor Systems, and then the two people that we brought in, they're the first official members when it comes to ShowLynk. So
Mm.
they're completely tied to ShowLynk, whereas Lance and I are
Strictly Ivor
strictly,
system.
we are Ivor Systems between
Okay.
so,
I've been thinking of like trying to do a hype house for founders, right? I seen it on Twitter
what?
and
I'm sorry.
a hype house for founders.
A high what?
A hype house for founders.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
So if I was thinking, okay, if I had a bunch of founders get together that are all building something and we all get like a massive like house and we all live in the same house, if we all pay cheap rent and live in a really cool house and build whatever it is that we're building together and help each and other person with however our like company can help them.
So that actually sounds like a phenomenal idea. Um, that is something that I'm not opposed to. I think that only breeds more productivity and imagination and just like work ethic. I think the hardest thing is making sure that we're surrounded by other people who share the same goals, visions, passions, and more so dedication, which seems to be the things that where people kind of start to tumble off a little bit, right? Because a lot of people have ideas, but not everybody is able to follow through, and that goes to just lack of dedication. Not even more so lack of passion; it's just a dedication aspect. But I say that because if there is a house, right, or like a living space where people who have ideas, or people who are like first time founders or like uh, very fetal phase of entrepreneurship, like me, like at such an early stage to kind of come together and be around other people who kind of are a support system for that. I think that that's a phenomenal idea. I think that's actually pretty good.
That would be an incubator,
Yeah.
and we should. I'm gonna make my own incubator.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Think
the
about it.
second thing I'm gonna do.
Yeah, but imagine if those two things were housed in one, right? Like if, for example, let's say just hypothetically, whether this happens or not, it'd be cool if it did. But let's say, for example, like you, me, Lance, or whoever else is on your team, and then maybe one other company, right? Like we all get this big house, right? We all kind of like put in towards it. We have three companies being bred within one house, right? We all just so happen to live there, but at the same time, we're three different companies trying to bring in three, minimum three different streams of income.
Right.
So to see something like that, I don't know if it exists. I think it'd be dope if it did. And if not, there needs to be more of it. But it comes down to the idea of like scaling down, right? Like where you are, it's just like, all right, if right now currently I'm paying this much for where I'm living at, versus if I were to live somewhere else, pay less for living expenses so I can put more of that money back into my company, then at that point, you see a little bit of an acceleration when it comes to um, when it comes to companies wanting to build up. But I actually share your same vision with the incubator, because I think that's something that we lack a lot, especially in urban communities, right? Like AJ, I think you still live in New Haven? Are you still in New Haven, or you live somewhere else?
No, I actually moved a little bit earlier this year. Currently in Hartford, but
You're in Hartford, okay, but okay, so even more so, right? So I know, for example, at University of Bridgeport, back when I was there, they have an incubator, but to the best of my knowledge, I believe it was for the business students to use, um, which is a common misconception, right? Like you think people who are going for a business major are the only ones thinking of some sort of entrepreneurial idea. I'm hoping it could be open to the public at one point, but if not, then I think that's something that would be really interesting to build an incubator where the common person from down the street who has an idea and wants to turn into something, they're able to walk in, like walk into an incubator the same way they would walk into a Walgreens, and like just come in, pitch an idea, or talk to someone, and be like, hey, this is what I have in mind, and then pairing them up with some sort of mentor to kind of get something going. I've had that idea for quite some time, so I'm hoping that that's something that can actually come into fruition sometime soon.
that sounds dope. I think I always see any company that isn't built yet, I always see that as like a personal avenue of like, hey, don't build that yet because I'm gonna build it. Like if this company still doesn't exist, because I'm like, I always have like a vision of I'm gonna take one company and make it multiple companies, and along the way, if I see something that says, hey, I think that should be a company, I'm gonna mark that down, and though so when I have enough capital to like just expel it at my will,
Yeah,
companies just come like boom, 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 boom.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I want to know more about ShowLynk. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys have planned? It's September 28th. We're almost starting October. It's the final quarter of the year. What do you guys have planned for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so I can't get into too much stuff because there's a lot of things that we want to kind of keep for the surprise of the general public once it's once it's ever released. What I can say is that we want ShowLynk to be the next unicorn, right? So for example, when face when in social media as a whole kind of came out, it was a unicorn to the world. It was just like, what is that? I don't understand it. I don't get it, but for some reason I'm attracted to it, or I want to go to it, right? So that's kind of the term that we've been using in terms of like wanting to make the next unicorn, right? Like Apple, Apple computers was a unicorn, Facebook was a unicorn, Snapchat itself was a unicorn. So we kind of want to be that next unicorn where people are able to see like, whoa, this is completely different. One of the things that we really want to embrace is just starting with community. We'll be having a campaign rolled out pretty soon that's really going to be towards people within their communities showcasing themselves, showcasing their talents, showcasing what makes their community beautiful, what makes their talents and their artistry beautiful, what makes it stand out. So we're gonna have something roll out like that actually pretty soon. So and that's kind of like a way to kind of engage the immediate community because we really want to put Connecticut on the map first. So we're really going to be starting small. It's going to be a lot of you know reaching out first to people in the New Haven, Bridgeport, Hartford, Waterbury, Stamford, Fairfield, wherever, right? Like we want to hit like the cities first, right? So to speak.
Right.
Kind of embrace and find those artists, those creatives in there, and kind of getting them to use the platform just to find themselves, right? Because one of the things that we can say about uh, the Northeast as a whole is that it has so much talent. Uh, and in terms of the music industry or anything in the arts world, really, a lot of people feel like they have to travel to New York, or they have to travel to LA, or they have to travel to Miami, uh, or anywhere where there's this high scene of like artistry and creativity, which is understandable. Um, but I think right now we're trying to prove a point that you can find artistry and creativity anywhere, literally down the street, your downstairs neighbor. Anybody can be super talented, and you would never know. I can only imagine how many producers right now are in Connecticut, and there's a lot. So to think about the amount of producers that are in Connecticut that are working with clients and artists from all these different states, simply because they don't know that the person who lives down the street from them actually has some like fire, and they're really good, and they just would have never known to connect because there's not a one specific point where they can actually go and look and find these specific artists. And I think that's kind of what we want to provide here. You know, we want artists and creators to be able to find each other through show.
Wow. Yo, so you guys got started through, you during the delivery. He invited you on and everything. How would you say you've been balancing, being a founder and doing your, deliveries, your Instacarts, DoorDashes, and Uber Eats? Because I've done DoorDash. I feel you on that. You feel like everyone
Yeah,
in the thing knows, like we started doing the DoorDashes the whole time.
yeah. So it's something that I'm still learning. To be honest, I want to be like really transparent. It's something that I struggle with, but it's something that I'm learning to balance as I continue to move forward. Because one of the things I notice is because right now, like me driving is my sole point of income at for me personally, right? I do live with my girlfriend. She's currently in her third year of law school. About to graduate in May. So, I guess the saving grace there is that she has her student loans as living expenses that help with the rent. So we split everything down the middle because that's the only way we can survive right now. But it's kind of comes to the idea that it's hard to balance because for me, in order to make sure that I can make a livable wage or allowance, so to speak, is to make sure that I'm driving, 10 hours a day. Uh, so that's one of the things where it gets challenging. and then I have to find that, when I get home or early in the morning before I start driving, what can I do to contribute towards ShowLynk today, right? Or for example, what is it that I can do to be more productive towards that? So it gets tough, but I think the thing that we need to, or one of the things that I'm working on to remember is, at the end of the day, ShowLynk is my real investment. We do dedicate one day out of the week where we all congregate together. And we're in person and we're talking and we're planning and we're doing all that stuff. But I think the struggle for everyone right now is that we're not making any money off of this right now. We're just at the moment trying to create a really dope project or product for people to get behind, and then from that moment they're able to push forward. And once we're able to make money, then we can dedicate all type of time here, like full 100%. But the reality is, when you're a new business, you still need to rely on other streams of income.
So you guys are in beta right now. How's the beta been going? Like what are some of the things that you've been learning about like the app, some of the like user behaviors and everything that you guys are learning right now?
Yeah, so I'm flattered by the beta, because just the fact that we have a beta, we have people using it, means that there's people who are interested in the idea that we brought upon, right? I believe Lance has the actual numbers of the amount of people that we have in the beta, but I believe we had somewhere around 75 people sign up for our beta, which is more than we originally expected, because we were setting minimal goals. Because again, like Lance and I, we're not originally, we just weren't active people on social media, right? And I think also the fact that I'm no longer in school, and I've been just so focused on trying to live as a young adult, that I haven't been able to keep up a lot of my networks and things like that. So to have, respectively, almost like two nobodies, so to speak, to find other people to believe in the vision enough to want to sign up and participate, has been really humbling in that aspect, and realizing that people actually believe in the idea. But the beta is pretty cool. It's been a lot of different changes, everything from name, logo, design, but the interactions are great because we have people who not only put up posts of what they do in terms of their writing or in terms of their photography, but also we've seen people engage in conversations because we also have a ask a question tab from the homepage where people are able to ask like these really thought provoking questions. Um, because creatives like to talk. If it wasn't obvious with me on here, but we just like to talk because we kind of talk through our ideas, our imaginations. So to be able to open a can of worms every single day and having different creatives give input is pretty awesome. Um, but again, we're still very much in our very early beta phase. We've only been active in the beta for just a couple of weeks. I want to say about 3 weeks we've been active in the beta. So again, we're still very much in an early phase, but once we have everything that we need in terms of like funding and everything of that nature, we're able to roll out in the App Store and do an official 1.0 launch, which is also coming soon. Once we get all the details ironed out for that, we'll be announcing when we're going to have our 1.0 rollout and everything.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Now, we talked earlier about how I was looking to get on an app and it was only on for Apple. Like you could only get it on the App Store, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys going to be rolling out ShowLynk on just the iOS, or are you going to be guys rolling it out on iOS and Google Play?
So it will be for both iOS and Google Play, to avoid exactly the feeling that you have right now. No, we know it's important to do it. We want to do our best to make sure that nobody kind of feels left out with this. Um, we want ShowLink to be as inclusive as possible. No matter where you're from, what you like, what you believe in. Um, you know, Creativity and art is what brings a lot of people together. It's the one of the most earliest ways of communication. It's one of the most earliest ways of expression. So, you know, it's historical in that aspect. But we really want to get as many people as possible to be able to have access to ShowLynk, so we can connect as many people as possible.
Yeah, I'm good at finding it because at least I'll be able to use it. Like I just feel that as someone who's like an Android user, I'm like, listen, I've missed out on certain products because I'm like, hey, listen, I don't have an iPhone because they roll out and test certain things on iPhone and they never make it to like a product market that probably would have used it if they rolled it out to Android. So I feel like a lot of people miss a good market by not rolling their products out to Android. So I thank you guys for rolling it out to Android. At least for me, feel me. I don't know about anyone else, but as a pretty good Android user, I'm pretty psyched about it. So, but so without going into much more detail, how soon do you guys expect the 1.0 to be ready?
Definitely before the end of this year. Before the end of 2020, there will be a 1.0 launch. We're looking potentially uh, potentially in November. We want to be able to roll out our 1.0. Again, it just comes down to making sure that we hit our internal goals to make sure that we're ready to have that rollout because we want it to be a thing. We want it to be a big thing that a lot of our immediate community members and everybody gets excited for it. So the challenge is just making sure we can get more people ready for it, make sure that we're ready for it. But yeah, we're looking more than definitely before the end of this year, we'll have a 1.0 that will launch in the app stores for people to be able to download. Because right now we're a website at the moment, right? We have a minimal viable product, coin, well not coin, but something that Lance had taught me about. We have a minimal viable product, that we're able to have people go on from their safaris, or if you have an iPhone, I'm not too sure in terms of Android, but I know with iPhone you can have a website turned into kind of like an on-screen app. So
like you can turn it to like a home screen menu thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have that available as well. We actually have like a small instruction on how to be able to do that on our website. So right now we have.
Did you guys do your website?
Say again?
Did you guys do your website?
Yes. So everything that ShowLynk is, and I think that's the most phenomenal part about it. Everything that ShowLynk is has really just been between us four. We haven't reached out to anyone in terms of in terms of building something for us or anything like that. A lot of that has been in-house creativity is what I like to call it. But in terms of again, right, in terms of everything software, in terms of everything building, in terms of the website, everything that's all Lance. Like he also does graphic design, so he was able to design our logos and everything. So he's very much a one-man band in that aspect, and I have a huge amount of respect for him for it because he knows what he's doing. So a lot of us kind of like take after his lead, learn from him, and then find ways that we can apply our talents, to continue to grow ShowLynk.
Yo, that's good. Yo, I say that's good in the sense of like I just love seeing people within my particular community.
Yeah.
Within people that represent people that look like us, and they're building something that not only brings them joy but is like going to bring other people. They're like, this is going to be good for other people. This isn't just good for me, this is good for other people, and I'm just so excited to spread that. And so like I just think there needs to be more of that within the community of us trying to uplift each other and bring each other on, saying, hey, listen, I have something, I want to help you with it, you have something, you can help me with it, or all trading different types of ideas and really growing and dispersing wealth within our community so that we can flourish. So I just love to see, other people building something that they love. So
I agree. I agree
on the side?
Say again?
Do you have anything on the side?
Anything on the side?
Side projects. Like
side projects,
thing you think of, even if you're just thinking of it, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, this definitely takes all of my time if it's not being spent driving or with immediate family. Because I care for my my family a lot, especially my little sister Lily. She's 12, almost 13, and she's very much a how do you call what Gen Z? Yeah, she's very much Gen Z. Um, but uh, she takes up my time in terms of me wanting to provide for her in terms of setting an example. Because I think from what she's seen, what I've seen, I think from a lot of us have seen, is that especially like for example for me, I'm first generation here uh, in this country, right? I'm a first generation Hispanic male, and I realize, and I think for a lot of us, even between the Black Indigenous people of color community, is that they want their children to have the safe job, to have the 9 to 5, to be able to pay and just be comfortable, right? And that's obviously understandable because we know from the conditions from where they came from, and they don't want us to fail. So it really always comes from a place of care and from a place of love, right?
Right.
Of this fear of seeing their children go for something and then just for it to crash and burn. Um, but I think that's the beauty of us being in America, right? Where like it doesn't matter how many times you crash and burn, you just have the opportunity to be able to build something to begin with. Um, and I think that's something that a lot of us who are first generation, our parents haven't fully grasped yet, and they're still in that mindset of in their previous country or wherever they're from, right? So it I guess for me, when it comes to ShowLynk and when it comes to like this work ethic that I'm trying to put on, it's really to kind of just inspire my immediate family to let them know it's like, hey, like I know we've been here X amount of time, uh, but if you have an idea or you want to do something, just do it, just go for it. And I'm trying to teach that to my little sister because now since I've done this, she's gotten an interest in voice acting and video editing, right? Which is not a safe route because it's a artistic route. It's a creative route, an entrepreneurial route. Um, so I think in that term, in terms of that, I want to be able to, she's kind of my side project, respectfully. Um, you know, uh, Kind of showing her the ropes to show her like, you know, if you have an idea, if you're passionate about something, if you want to make something into a reality, um, just do it. Like just all the information in the world is available to you. You can learn anything on YouTube nowadays. So many people graduate from YouTube University and they're better off than those of us with like 4 year degrees, 6 year degrees,
You
whatever it may be.
absolutely know it.
So, that's what it is. We have access to we have access to so much knowledge, just the internet as a whole. We have access to so much, and it really comes down to what are you going to spend your time using to do it. Are you going to spend your time like binging on Netflix, which is totally okay because I do it as well. But so long as you find a balance, it's like all right, I already binged the last 2 days of watching Netflix. What can I binge to make sure that my mind is able to keep up with everything happening and expand upon that, So
What's your share your social links, Harry? I like what you're talking. You need to share your thoughts more on social media. Drop your social media.
yeah,
No,
so you can find me on Facebook, Nicholas Villacis. I don't know if I'm able to write in here for people to see it in the chat. I don't know if it works that way.
I'll tag your social media in the bio.
Yeah. I'll shoot it in the chat here, so that way you can see it, AJ. But in terms of Facebook, it's just my full name. Um, then I'm just gonna type in my Instagram. And then I'm gonna throw in here obviously my show link, which is the same as my Instagram to kind of keep it consistent. That's for show link. So yeah, anybody watching, definitely go to www.ShowLynk.com. You'll land on our landing page to learn more about ShowLynk, and it gives you the opportunity to sign up for our beta. It's completely free to sign up, like any other site, just for everyone to kind of come together and, you know, find out about themselves, share their creativity, all that stuff. So yeah, those are my IGs, so I can be followed. But I agree with you on that. I want to be able to, I noticed not too long ago that I really want to get into producing content all the time. I think a lot of times I'm just like, my life's not that interesting. I spend 10 hours out of the day driving anyway. But these are excuses at the end of the day that I'm trying to take to the curb and, be on it. I'm very much a brand new to this whole entrepreneurial world as a whole. So it's a journey, but it's a journey I love being on so far. So yeah.
We love it. We absolutely thank you for coming to visit us. You were a wonderful guest host. Perfect way to start off on Monday. Hustle all day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an honor to be on here. AJ, I completely respect everything that you've been able to pull off in such a short amount of time. Your consistency, your content. Definitely Tuka Talk is my favorite. So, like everything that you're setting out to do, I applaud. I commend you on all that, and I'm actually really excited to see what OffSource has in store for the very near future. I can see it really going up.
We thank you in OffSource and the Ramblings, and we all thank you for coming, and we'll talk to you, and we hope to have you on again, maybe after the OS1 launch and everything. Maybe come back on.
Yeah, most definitely. I'd be more than happy to be a guest. Next time, we'll definitely be able to have more members of the team hop on. That way we can all kind of share our respective stories in that aspect, and let you guys see who the ShowLynk team is.
That sounds cool. Can I get a wave? Let's get a picture.
Yeah, let's do a wave.
All right.
Awesome. Well.
Before you go, Ramblers, if you enjoyed today's podcast, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and make sure you're following me across all platforms at Assistance HQ. Catch up on exclusive content and keep track of everything going on at OffSource. See you in October.